Hello, welcome Solex Nation. It is September, which means it is Day of Discovery Month, but we are not talking about Day of Discovery today.
Yes, as much as we'd love to, but let's lead with, for September, we have a new incentive going on. If you enroll a new preferred customer or a new QLA, that person, if they enroll with a bundle, they will get the Power Patches.
Yeah, a bundle and a subscription, and they get the Power Patches. And if you haven't tried the Power Patches, they're absolutely amazing. You charge them in the sun, just like you do all of our negative ion products, and you can put them, they're flat. And you can put them in a lot of different places. And we have a lot of information about that.
Yeah, the diversity. I mean, people from shoes to pockets to within
in between your phone case.
Yeah, in the phone cases. Yeah. I've done that.
Yep.
It's a really good tool. So add it, make it an easier way to share what negative ions are, I think, with people. And they get it for free just by enrolling this month.
That's
right.
That's
not bad.
Now, we also have an incentive for the entire quarter. Now, this quarter is almost over.
Yeah, we're in the last month of this quarter.
Yes.
And so what we're looking for is, even if you just started and tonight's your first call and you're a new QLA, you can still get this. A lot of people will still get this. If you enroll 3 or more people during the remainder of this quarter, which is the month of September, with a bundle and a subscription, and that subscription successfully transacts, right?
Yes, that's important.
Then you will get a $50 bonus. But if you do it with 6 or more people, you'll get a $250 bonus. And the really cool thing about that is you'll get both.
That's right. That's right. Total of 300 extra dollars. And you know, we have people in our top enrollers this week, we'll get there, that have already qualified for that.
They did it in a week.
Yeah, they did it in a week. So this is totally doable. Now, next week, we do need to talk about a couple of things.
Yeah, so next week, as we're hosting Day of Discovery here in Utah, we won't be doing a weekly call.
Yes.
We've done that every year.
Yeah.
We'll miss you if you aren't able to make it out and you're just looking for, there's a lot of great calls in the back. There's a lot of great teachers that have done some wonderful things. It's time to do a replay, I guess.
Yes.
And go check those out. Or remind yourself of them, right?
Yep. So no weekly update next week, and that is on the 13th. That's Wednesday the 13th. As you can imagine, we are going to be very busy here with Day of Discovery.
Yep.
And then also we want to talk about our commission run.
Yes. When the commission run is normally on the 10th of the month. When the 10th falls on the weekend or a holiday, we do it the following business day. So for August commission run, which usually would run on September 10th, that's a Sunday. So this month we run it on September 11th.
That's Monday.
Okay.
So just expect that. Your commission will come on Monday the 11th.
Yep.
Okay, is this 3 weeks in a row?
3 weeks in a row.
We have had the fun thing for us to announce, but we have another license plate that we want to show you. This is Sheila Day.
Congratulations, Sheila Day. Your Solex silver coin is coming to you, and thank you for choosing Solex as your license plate. Welcome to the team.
Welcome to the Solex team.
I think we're crushing Lauren's team.
I think we are. Lauren's AO. I don't know. We're probably tied. AO Scan is Lauren's team, and we're Solex. No, we're all the same team. All right. We had a contest last week that was different, and it was fun. It was really fun to see your entries. We asked you to go onto Instagram and to talk about the 660 band or SEFIdots or both, and then tag us in it, and then you would be entered into our drawing. Now, we're going to give away 2 people are going to get SEFIdots.
Yep.
1 person is getting a 660 band.
Big 660 band.
So you want to draw the first one?
Okay.
This is for SEFIdots.
This is for a box of SEFIdots going to Deanne Schofield?
I think it's Schofield.
Schofield.
Yay, Deanne!
Yeah, Deanne,
okay,
congratulations.
Let's show what she did.
The best advice anyone ever gave me was 2 words. You can't. And you know what my response was? 2 words. Watch me.
All right, the next one is, get one out here, Sabrina Gonder.
Congratulations, Sabrina. SEFIdots.
SEFIdots.
To her
Yeah,
as well.
let's watch Sabrina's.
All right, and then the last one goes to...
Wait, hold on, drum roll. This is for a 660 band.
Yeah,
We already
it's not
chose
just
it.
anything.
Okay.
It's a 660 band.
It goes to
Mindy Getz.
Mindy
Getz.
Getz.
Let's show what she did.
Okay. Those were so fun. You all did a great job. We loved reposting those and seeing those reposted on our Instagram stories.
Yeah, and thanks for tagging us.
Yeah. All right, Top Enrollers is insane this week.
Yeah, big ties.
We have a lot of ties.
First, a lot of ties for second place, of course.
So this is August 28th to September 3rd.
Very good. Okay, and so Stephanie Holland, congratulations.
This is second place. Yes,
Yep.
Becky Coots-Kimbley.
And Meg Berry.
Jessica Zavios.
Nancy Tolshin.
Julie Tibbles.
Mary Roman.
Deborah Carlson.
And Maria Berry.
Those
are all second place. Holy cow.
Congratulations to all of you. We also have a tie for first place, and these first place winners are going to get a Solex silver coin.
And it's a three-way tie.
It is.
Congratulations, Paige Wheeler.
Christy Hewerman.
And Hannah Craig. We've seen these names before.
Yes, well done.
Successful job at recruiting. All of you, well done. And of course, to those first place, the Solex silver coin, the Legacy Club, again.
Yes, that's right. Congratulations. I want to tell a little story about something that happened to us last week. We have been talking a lot about homeopathy here at the office. Homeopathy is something that's kind of new to me. In fact, it's a section of the scanner that I don't venture into very often, and actually at all. Sorry, Alice. I'm doing better with it. But
Rude.
since we have been talking with Alice over the last couple of weeks for these calls, I've been looking into the homeopathy section of the scanner. Well, we have a new grandbaby. This is grandbaby number 2, and she's about 5 weeks old, and she has been struggling with acid reflux. Well, I was looking at the homeopathy section, looking for something in reference to Alice's call, and I saw acid reflux under homeopathy, and I thought, oh my goodness, hello, I have this resource right here, and I didn't even think about a way to support Afton's acid reflux. So I went onto my scanner, and I made a profile for this new grandbaby, and I made her a playlist, and I sent acid reflux on that playlist to her. I called her mom, our daughter, and I said, okay, this is what I'm doing. And I'm just going to turn it off in the middle of the day sometime. And she said, just don't do it during Jane's nap, her older sister's nap. She's like, I want to take a nap too.
Yeah, I want some rest.
So anyway, I was running these frequencies all day, and I forgot to turn it off. Later on in that day, I had to do something on my phone, and I went in and realized that the playlist was still running. I turned it off to do something else. And within 2 minutes, my daughter texted me, and she said, hey, is Afton's playlist still running? And so I thought, okay, that could be a coincidence.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if she's just curious. So I called her, and I said, why did you ask me if the playlist was still running? And she said, well, she's been quiet and calm all day. And then just a couple of minutes ago, she woke up, she spit up, and she started crying. And she said, so I was just wondering if the playlist was still going. I'm getting chills even telling the story. And I said, oh my gosh, you won't believe this. You texted me about 2 minutes after I turned it off. So I don't know why it still surprises me, but I have story after story after story of successful uses with this scanner. And I know you have them too, but I just wanted to share that with you that, even though we do this 24/7, we still forget the resource that we have at our fingertips, and it can do so much.
Well, and it's still, the word surprise probably isn't the right word, but it still is amazing.
It's impressive.
Yeah. It's truly awesome when you think about like what it can do and what happens when you start working with frequency. And I love the way Alice always puts it. She says that, you're not going to break anything really.
Yeah.
You're going to go in, just try it, just start working with it. And whether that's homeopathy or whether that's any part of the scanner, you're really not going to break anything. You're just going to get more experience as you explore areas that maybe you haven't touched before.
That's right.
And get a little bit more confidence with how to use those. So great story.
I know. I love it. And, I've heard so many people say, you know what, this isn't working. I have this ailment, and I ran this playlist, and it didn't work. And might I just say to consider changing the frequencies and trying different things because you might not be hitting on the head. And so it's good to, if you're running something and it doesn't feel like it's giving you the relief you're looking for or the change you're looking for, then try something else. And like Alice said, like I just said, you're not going to break anything. Just keep trying, keep playing around with it. And eventually you'll find the right formula.
Yeah. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing that.
Yes.
Our granddaughter and finding relief with the scanner again. Wonderful job. But next, we're going to have Deb Bruce.
Yes.
Well, good evening. It's another Wednesday evening, and tonight we're going to talk about a subject that impacts a lot of people on a daily basis. And I hope that the information helps you in the days to come. So, what is the subject that we're going to talk about? Well, we've had a lot of good information in the last few weeks on Wednesday calls and in the past on different Wednesday night calls and presentations on hydration. And tonight's going to have a little bit of a different slant on hydration. And then in another presentation in a few weeks, there'll be a part 2 that goes even more in depth into another slant on hydration. So what is the one that we're going to talk about tonight? Well, tonight it's a very sensitive subject. It's about caffeine. So I found the research on this to be fascinating. And I just want to let you know, disclaimer up front, there are hundreds and hundreds of pages of research on what's going to be presented tonight. So the 15 minutes or so that we have tonight, I'm just going to, in layman's terms, just kind of give an overview of what I saw in the research. And I would strongly encourage you all, if you're interested, to do some research on your own, because it really is a pretty fascinating subject. Another part of my disclaimer at the very beginning is that I personally really enjoy coffee a lot. And so I had a personal interest in what I would find with the research and knew some of it ahead of time, as probably most of you do, but then I had other facts about it that were really of particular interest. So what I wanted to start out with tonight was a little bit of the trivia that I found on coffee, because I just thought that it was fun to know. So 3 out of 4 Americans drink coffee every day. 49% of the people drink 3 to 5 cups a day. I found that that was pretty fascinating. I don't drink that much, but there's days when I at least have 2 cups, sometimes 3. Over 2.25 billion cups of coffee are consumed daily worldwide. So start to see that this subject can really have a lot of impact on a lot of people that we are using our mobile scanner with. Baby boomers born between 1946 and 1964 were the age group that drink the most coffee. Now, technically, coffee beans are actually seeds, and they're the pits of cherry-like berries. But because of their similarity to legumes, that's how they ended up being called beans. And which country drinks the most coffee? Well, it wasn't one that I thought it would be. I figured United States or Colombia or something like that. Actually, Finland. Finland drinks the most coffee. The average coffee drinker in Finland drinks 27.5 pounds of coffee per year, where in the United States, the average is 11 pounds. So when it comes to a cup of joe, we're way behind what Finland drinks. So over the day, something that's connected with caffeine in general is that the body has a neurotransmitter buildup called adenosine. And the cortex, the hippocampus, the cerebellum are areas, and then there's affected by it. And also there are different aspects of adenosine that affect the heart, the lungs, the spleen, the large intestine, the bladder, really an overall body effect. It's actually part of what is referred to as ATP, but for this discussion tonight, we're just talking about adenosine. Now, what happens is that there is a balanced buildup of adenosine over the day. It just slowly builds up and slowly builds up. And then what happens is in the evening, the buildup of the adenosine can make you feel sleepy. And it actually can lend itself to a good sleep cycle. Now enter caffeine. In caffeine, we're not just talking about coffee like we just talked about. We're talking about caffeine in many forms. So what are some of the other things that have caffeine? Well, there's chocolate. Dark chocolate has the most caffeine. Black tea. Those of you that don't drink coffee and don't eat chocolate, There's a lot of caffeine in colas, ones like Coke, Pepsi. Mountain Dew is another one that has a very large amount of caffeine. And it was really interesting that the first time that the FDA explicitly approved adding caffeine to sodas was for colas, and it was in the year 1958. Another source is energy drinks. A lot of energy drinks have a high amount of caffeine. And then the less suspect sources are chewing gum. Some chewing gums have caffeine. And then even some energy bars have caffeine. And the list kind of goes on and on. It's something that you can start reading labels and really see the sources. Now, what happens with the entrance of caffeine with adenosine? Well, you wake up first thing in the morning, and if the first thing that you do is grab coffee or your caffeine of choice, be it a Coke, be it Mountain Dew, be it whatever it is, black tea, whatever your preference is, what's the problem? Well, the problem is that the adenosine in the brain is defined as an inhibitory neurotransmitter. And since it slowly builds up in your system during the day and promotes sleep at night, well, when you first wake up in the morning, adenosine doesn't automatically just disappear, okay? It takes an average of 60 to 90 minutes for the adenosine to actually flush off of the receptor sites. So the problem is that when you reach for your preferred source of caffeine first thing in the morning, the receptor sites get blocked by the caffeine. The caffeine and the adenosine just are attached to the same exact sites. So caffeine doesn't slow down those particular sites the way that adenosine does. And as a result, the cell can no longer identify whether it's caffeine that's there or whether it's adenosine that's there. And the caffeine ends up taking up all the receptor sites that normally the adenosine would bind to or flush from. So this causes an interesting effect in the body. Once the caffeine that you drink is depleted off of the receptor sites, then the adenosine continues to flush out, and there's the sleepiness that can happen in the morning. Somebody will have the cup of coffee, which will have the immediate caffeine effect, but then once that immediate effect wears off, that adenosine that's still there that didn't flush out starts to move out, and the person has complete grogginess. Thus the need for them to once again grab another source of caffeine. So whether it's caffeine, Coke, Mountain Dew, energy drinks that are being used by everybody, these can be some of the main contributors to why people end up with cycling grogginess during the day. Another complication is that with increased consumption of caffeine during the day, as the grogginess hits, and then there's the caffeine hit, and then the grogginess hits, and there's the caffeine hit from those receptor sites trying to dump the adenosine that's left, it can get to the point that the body has such an excess of the adenosine that it never completely flushes out the way that it should. And so then you end up with poor sleep patterns at night, which can really be a problem that a lot of people see over time with caffeine consumption. Now, another issue is that shortly after waking up, your body has a spike in cortisol. Now, the cortisol helps clear the adenosine. If you consume caffeine before the spike of cortisol, then its production is disrupted. So cortisol is a hormone that makes you feel alert. So now you can start seeing that if you have the caffeine and you have the problem with the adenosine coming out and making you groggy afterwards, and you have the cortisol that is supposed to make you alert that's being disrupted, then you're starting to have a real problem with how you can function, how you can sleep, how you feel, the whole 9 yards. Now, cortisol typically peaks in the body about 3 times per day. And one is the early morning. And according to the research in one of the Time magazines that I saw, the best time to have any form of caffeine at all is between 10 o'clock in the morning and 12, and then again somewhere between 2 and 5. Now, if somebody has caffeine between 10 and 12 and has caffeine between 2 and 5, it allows your body to use the caffeine in a way that is not disruptive, because it's not replacing any of the important functions in the body, such as the cortisol release that happens several times a day, or the accumulation of the adenosine during the day, or the flushing of it in the morning. So what really is the best course to take in timing the intake of caffeine, whatever your preference is for caffeine? What should a person do when they first get up, when they normally would go run for a cup of joe, or be hugging their coffee maker or their cup, or reaching for their Mountain Dew or their Coke or their black tea, whatever it is that they normally would do pretty much as soon as their feet hit the floor and they stumble into the kitchen and they're getting ready for their day? Well, research shows that what they need to do is hydration with clean water. And the research is fascinating. The best course for the way the body works is to not drink any caffeine for at least 90 minutes after you wake up, because it takes about 90 minutes for the adenosine to flush out of the body. Like I said earlier, it's not automatic as soon as you wake up. So in that first 90 minutes, caffeine really sets into the cycle, everything that we talked about earlier. However, if somebody drinks a minimum of 2 cups of water, clean water, in the first 90 minutes, the benefit to the body is amazing. Research shows that lukewarm water is better than really cold water. It actually helps the circulatory system more. We've seen a lot of benefits in the talks on Wednesday nights about hydration, but that the first couple cups in the morning instead of caffeine are really, really important to cleansing the body, helping the liver. And there's really an interesting point about that. Drinking water during this time allows the adenosine to flush out. It allows the cortisol to regulate energy at the proper time. It flushes toxins from the body. It can increase metabolism. It aids in cleansing of the bowels. And a side effect, it improves hair and skin. And that starts with those 2 very important cups minimum of water the first 90 minutes after you wake up. It's really crucial. Now, another study showed that when you drink water during the first 2 hours, it also allows the body, over a period of a week or so, to overcome the craving for the caffeine source. And that was really interesting. Some people, it only took a few days. Other people, it took 7 to 10 days. But it got to the point that their body would recognize the superiority of the couple cups of water that they were drinking in the morning instead of the caffeine. And it got where they didn't have the craving, they didn't have the grogginess, they didn't have the need to have a caffeine source so much during the day. They actually started sleeping better. It was pretty amazing studies on the benefit of starting with water. And remember, it's for a minimum of 90 minutes first thing in the morning. The most beneficial time period was actually a full 2 hours until that first time that caffeine was used. So this just takes us also to, what about our mobile scanner? What can we see in our mobile scanner that connects with this subject? Well, in body systems, a lot of times the suggestion is hydration, hydration, hydration. And this can be from a lot of different aspects. It could be that somebody is not drinking enough water to begin with during the day, but it also could be that they're having that caffeine hit a number of times a day, or having just caffeine first thing in the morning. And remember, every time that you have anything that has caffeine, it takes a cup of water to offset a cup of whatever you have that has the caffeine. And then you're at ground zero. So you don't even consider yourself as starting hydration until you get past the cup that matches the cup. So you can rapidly start to see where body systems, if somebody's a regular caffeine user, could show that they really are having a problem with hydration. Now, caffeine itself doesn't necessarily cause adrenal fatigue, but many of the changes that our body undergoes if we use a lot of caffeine can put a strain on the adrenals. So if we start to substitute a cup of coffee for sleep, or a cup of soda, a glass of soda, black tea, whatever, instead of a meal because we're in a hurry, or we're just needing that jolt to finish a project, whatever it is that we're using it for, then it actually can undermine our adrenal health. And this is really important. On the adrenal view in your mobile scanner, you have the square that's next to aldosterone. And aldosterone helps to monitor the water salt balance in the body. So if you're seeing 1s and 9s on that square on the PDFs next to aldosterone, that's a clue. Another thing is if there's problems with circulation. If there's a lot of caffeine usage and not enough water to offset it, then it can affect blood volume, which can also affect blood pressure. Another system is the lymphatics. The lymphatics need water in order to transport nutrients and take away waste. And then we've had other talks on how water is actually a nutrient and is so important to so many things in the body. So this is just some of the information. There's a ton more out there if you just dive in and do some research. I just kind of hit the highlights tonight of what I saw and what interested me, and just kind of enjoyed the trivia about coffee and caffeine as well. There's another side to hydration though. Oh, let me backtrack for a minute. I just thought of another fact. One of the studies showed that dopamine hangs around in the brain longer when somebody has a caffeine source. Now, the study said that they weren't saying at this point that caffeine was necessarily addictive, but they were letting us know from that study that one of the reasons we feel good after we have caffeine is because of the length of time that dopamine stays in the system, which I thought was a really interesting point as well. So, what was I saying? There's another whole side to hydration, and that's something that I'm going to be researching in the next 2 or 3 weeks and present to you on another Wednesday night call. So I hope that you enjoyed this information. I enjoyed researching it for you and encourage you, like I said, to look even more into the subject and start connecting the dots with what you see in your scanner. So have a nice evening, and I'll look forward to talking to you again soon.
You know, Kai, I don't know about you, but I am ready for Day of Discovery.
Yes, me too. Deb Bruce is going to be there. She's going to teach us from stage.
That's right.
Just some powerful teaching. Well, this was a great lesson. One of the things she talked about was hydration. We talk about that all the time, and at nauseum. Sometimes it might feel like, but it's intended to be a reminder more than anything. What's the Russian proverb? The mother of all learning is repetition.
That's right. And the thing is, it's so important, and every single one of us need that reminder all the time.
Yeah.
Drink a little more water.
Drink water, and it'll help the scanner. It'll help you feel better, right? So let's do this. Let's give away. At Solex, we've done 3 different water bottles over the years. I think we should give away one of each to 3 people.
There we go.
Yeah.
I like
So comment on this call. What is the thing that you liked or learned from Deb today on this call? And not next week. I almost created a blooper here.
No. Wednesday call next week because Day of Discovery.
So the week after that, we're going to draw names and we're going to give away to 3 people one of those 3 bottles. And so we're excited for that. We'll miss you next week. We look forward to those that will be here. But until then, we'll see you.
See ya.
said license plates.
Yeah, I know.
Good.
That was solid.
Bloopers.